In the Quran, in Surah Al-Fil, chapter 105, we read the story of Abraha al-Habashi, who attacked the Kaaba in Mecca. To protect the Kaaba from being sacked by Abraha, Allah supposedly sent tiny birds called al-Ababil to destroy his army of elephants. But a logical person knows that this is nothing but a legend, a bedtime story for children. There is nothing called a God who sends tiny birds to carry tiny stones in their tiny claws to throw them at the enemy to protect the Kaaba that was filled with 360 idols at a time, which of course doesn't make any sense to begin with. Why would this God protect the Kaaba if it was filled with all kinds of idols? Very strange. Muslims, if you know how to distinguish between reality and fantasy, then you need to ask yourself the following question. How can an army of elephants survive in such a dry, hostile condition and hot environment in the middle of a desert? Do you know how much water just one adult elephant needs to drink a day? The answer is between 30 and 50 gallons a day, or between 113 to 189 liters of water. So where did they get all the water from? Did they have an endless supply of water? And don't forget about the huge amount of food that just one adult elephant needs to consume. An adult elephant eats around 150 kilograms a day, or 330 pounds. Remember, this is just one adult elephant. So how did Abraha al-Habashi manage to bring an entire army of elephants to a desert like Mecca? How can any Muslim with a healthy set of brains accept this nonsense? This is fantasy, a fabricated lie in the Quran. What a mess. And why did this Allah forgot to keep his promise in Surah Al-Fil when the Kaaba was destroyed again during the Umayyad Caliphate? The Kaaba during the Umayyad Caliphate was destroyed around 4 times. For example, at the hands of Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqafi around 60 years after the death of Muhammad. And why did Allah not keep his promise again and failed miserably to protect the Kaaba from being destroyed 300 years after the death of Muhammad, when the Qarmatians or Qarmatians sacked Mecca? They destroyed the Kaaba and killed over 20,000 Muslim pilgrims, throwing their dead bodies in the well of Zamzam. But unfortunately, Allah was nowhere to be found to protect his precious worshippers and slaves. The Muslims were praying to Allah to kill those enemies, but unfortunately, lives were lost, hopes were killed, and Allah was silent. Didn't Allah say in chapter 2 of the Quran, ayah 186, I answer the call of every believer when they call upon me? Very strange, very fishy. Where was Allah when all Muslims were trusting him with their lives in his hands while they were slain? In the year 930 AD, the leader of the Qarmatians, Abu Tahir al-Qarmati, led 700 horsemen into Mecca, massacred the pilgrims, uncovered the Kaaba, and urinated on it, took the black stone, and went over the top of the Kaaba and said, I am in God and God is in me. Where is your God? I am your great God. Where are the birds of Allah, al-Ababil, that protect the Kaaba? Where are the stones of fire? And not only was the Kaaba destroyed, but the leader of the Qarmatians, Abu Tahir al-Qarmati, climbed on top of the Kaaba, stole the black stone for at least 22 years, being used then as his personal toilet stone. And of course, nobody can confirm that the 8 leftover pebbles or pieces that are now in the corner of the Kaaba are parts of the original black stone, or maybe just fake pebbles found somewhere. Of course, we can find this info in books like History of Islam and Siyar A'lam al-Nubala by Imam al-Dhahabi, but also in Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya by Ibn Kathir. I'll provide a couple of sources in the description box. What about 1979, when a Muslim group called themselves al-Ikhwan, led by Juhayman al-Utaybi, who declared his brother-in-law Muhammad Abdullah al-Qahtani to be the new Mahdi? They entered Mecca and opened fire on the pilgrims, killing 382 Muslims and injuring more than 1,000 people in the process. Where was Allah to protect the Kaaba and its people? Or 1996, when the entire Kaaba was destroyed to the ground, then the Saudi government was forced to bring in a group of people to rebuild the Kaaba once again. And of course, none of the original stones or foundations and the 8 black pebbles survived from the time of Muhammad. Clearly, fake stones were brought from somewhere else to be placed against the corner of the Kaaba. Now ask yourself the following question, my Muslim friends. Why did Allah supposedly send his Tuyur al-Ababil in the story of Abraha al-Habashi, but not send these birds again to protect the Kaaba each time it got destroyed? And we know that the Kaaba was destroyed at least 12 times. My Muslim friends, think about it. The Kaaba that you must visit at least once in your life and to spend your life savings to pay for the big trip to Mecca has been built 29 years ago. Yes, you heard it correctly. Yes, it was built 29 years ago. Big chance that the house you now live in could be older than the Kaaba of today. What a mess, man. Stay away from Islam.